to the Me, Myself and Hopefully You podcast. My name is Tariq, a 19-year-old university student currently experiencing a midlife crisis because I have no idea what I want to do with my life. So rather than see a therapist or a career advisor, I decided to start a podcast to meet guests from all around the world and hear more about their stories. And hopefully by hearing about their stories, I can help create my own. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest at this time has accumulated over nearly 300,000 subscribers on YouTube. We discuss the tragic passing of his mum early on in his life, his reliance on alcohol, which ended up leading to him calling the Samaritans for help, and how he overcame all of that to achieve FIFA glory on YouTube, and how he's now settled down in Poland, what it feels like to be engaged, and on top of that, what it feels like to have a baby on the way too. It is definitely almost a rags to riches story. It was one of my favourite podcasts that I've ever recorded, so I can't wait for you guys to watch it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button before it starts. I'd really appreciate it. And without further ado, my guest at this time is Waddington, also known as Vizeh. So, Liam, I want to start off with asking you just a few quick fire questions, just to start the podcast off a bit. The first quick fire question I want to ask you is, what's the last thing on your camera roll?
The last thing on my camera roll?
Yeah.
It's probably a meme of some sort. I'm sure it is. I'm very confident. I'm on Twitter a lot, so it's probably something that I thought was funny as a reaction meme. I have not got my phone on me. I need to go check, but I'm pretty sure it's probably... I actually have no idea. I need to go check, I think. I always have my phone on me, so like I usually have. I'm pretty sure it's a reaction of. I think it's Jack Grealish. I think like a reaction meme of him because he's like linked with Man City right now. So I think it's that. It's just a photo of him just like that, pretty much.
I know, it's mad. Do you think he's off to City then?
I actually don't think he is. I don't know why. I've got a weird feeling. I think that he's probably staying because I'm a romanticist when it comes to football and really anything in life, really. So I kind of hope that maybe he'll be staying and be the local boy, dragging him through to Champions League football. That's what I always like to see in football. So I hope he stays, just because I think that will just make a better story for him, really.
Yeah, no, I as a United fan, I really want him to stay, and I don't want him to go anywhere. I think the thing that's going to happen is, I think the City are going to get a bid accepted, get that done with, and then they're going to wait to see if they can sign Kane. And if they can't sign Kane by the end of the window, then I think right at the end, they'll just take Grealish.
That's if Grealish wants to go, though. That's if Grealish wants to go. Kane wants to leave. I don't know if Grealish wants to leave.
But come on, if the opportunity comes to you, you've taken your club, you started your career at your boyhood club, you went down, then you came back up, you ended up getting an England cap whilst you were at the club, and then now going off to City, playing in the Champions League week in, week out, potentially winning the league. I don't think anyone turns that down.
I know, but Villa, they're still on the up. Who says that they can't get any higher? I feel like, for me, how I see it, I think this year, stick around and then see how it goes, and then maybe the year afterwards. He's still like 25, he's still pretty young, so maybe next window I can see it happen, but that's that. This turned into a transfer news show.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it has.
This sounds Sky Sports.
If someone's into football, then I'd usually just end up going on a rant about football afterwards, or just straight away, and we end up wasting like 10 minutes. But my next quick fire question to you is: who would you consider as sort of an inspiration or a role model to you?
I wouldn't use the term role model, but inspiration. In terms of YouTube, especially, probably like Syndicate Project or like KSI as well, probably. I'd probably say more Syndicate because he's like from Manchester. I'm not from Manc, but I'm from Burnley, which is like 45 minutes away. So like, Minecraft and zombies and whatever else. And I've always kind of kept tabs on him ever since. And I've met him a few times in real life. So probably say Syndicate Project, just for that kind of YouTube inspiration when I was younger.
What was it like meeting him, considering he was such a big inspiration for you?
I've met him a few times. One or two. The first two times when I was like really small, when I was like still like 15. So I was like really kind of fanboying then. But you meet him like at Insomnia. It's like a fan meetup, so you don't really have time to really speak to him. Last time I saw him was actually at the night of the first KSI Logan Paul boxing match, which is really weird how two of my main kind of role models, well, inspirations, I'm watching KSI while watching a Syndicate, because I was in a hotel lobby at Insomnia and I was downstairs with a few YouTubers and he tapped on our shoulders like, oh, is this a fight? And he watched the first like 3 rounds of us in the lobby. And like, I was just talking to him normally. I was pretty established at that stage. I want to say like 150K, around that kind of era. But like, I was trying to not fanboy and like ask for a photo, so I didn't. And I thought that would give me some respect points, but turns out nothing really happened. I've not met him since, so I'm still working on it.
I reckon he probably thought you were cool. If you don't ask for a picture, I feel like that's like a cool sort of, you're calm, you're cool, you're collected, you know what you're doing. I feel like that will have gotten you a few points, and maybe in the future those points will account to something.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. My final quick fire question to you is: if there was a house fire and everyone survived, all your family and your pets, obviously your dog, who I saw before, survived. I don't know where he's gone now. What's the one thing that you would save?
My setup, I don't know. My setup is many things. I don't know. Like, I guess PC makes sense as one of the most expensive things. I mean, I got my YouTube plaque, but I swear I can get a new one if it breaks. So that would make the most sense to me, my 100K plaque. So probably my PC, because I guess I need to start again somewhere with YouTube. So that makes more sense to me, I think, because I think I can probably get my plaque. Is there anything else which is like, for sentimental value, probably my mum's monkey. I got my mum's monkey, which like she had my entire childhood, and like I still have that. So for sentimental, maybe that. It's always here.
What is that? Sorry, what is it, like a pet animal?
Yeah. She has a real life like monkey in her room the entire time.
No.
I have it here all the time. It's literally just this bad boy.
Okay.
So like my entire childhood, like, it still pretty much smells like her. This is pretty much her. I think my dad gave this to my mom as like a my mom gave this to my dad as a Valentine's Day gift, like way before I was born. But then for some reason, my mom kind of liked it more than my dad, so it just turned out to be hers. So she's had it for like last 20 years of her life.
Oh, fair enough. All right, fair enough.
So it's like mine thing, which I have. It still smells like her. It's really weird to say, but 8 years on, it still smells like her. So I have that.
Oh no, that's beautiful. That's pretty touching. That I can't really say that I've got anything, to be fair. I mean, I've got a weird thing. I've got this like sort of, those file holders that you can have. I've got this file holder that she had, and it's like her name on it, and it's still on my desk with her name on it, which is just it's a weird one. It's not very like special, I guess, like a stuffed animal or anything. But yeah, I mean, I guess I got that. I don't really have anything else. My sister pretty much got everything, which is actually quite annoying.
That is quite annoying. That's quite annoying.
I know, yeah.
You need to have words with her.
I know. I mean, to be fair, she didn't really have anything that was like quite cool. Like my granddad had some cool stuff when he passed away. I got one of his perfumes, which was really cool. Like it was how like really old classical perfume. It was that, and I was like, I want that, so I got that. So I was quite happy with that, to be fair. But anyway, so you through those sort of
you probably find it at like a charity shop for like £5 or something.
What's that? Sorry.
Probably something that you buy at like a charity shop, like £2 or something, but to you it means the world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Yeah, and it was like an Arab sort of scent as well. So I don't know. It smells it smells like him as well. So it's like, yeah, it was quite sentimental. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So through those quick fire questions, I think people would have got sort of an idea as to what you do. But could you sort of quickly introduce yourself to the audience?
So my name is Liam Waddington. That's my actual legal name. And yeah, people don't really care about that. Online, my social name is Vizeh, which is really hard to pronounce for most people. People just don't know how to say it, which I don't really blame them. It's kind of a weird name. Essentially, I'm a YouTuber, which is, it sounded really cool back in the day, but the older I get, the more it kind of feels like, it just feels like a fake job. Really. So yeah, I guess I'm a YouTuber, and I just do FIFA videos and football videos and in real life football videos, and basically anything to do with football and FIFA world. That's where I've basically built my entire kind of social branding on, really. So yeah, cool fact, I live in Poland and I'm English, which is really strange, as most people probably don't know many that even leaves England in the first place. Never mind go to someone like Poland. If you know anyone from England that leaves, usually it's like America or somewhere like very kind of mainstream, I guess. But Poland's an odd one. So yeah, that's basically a very easy overview of who I am, pretty much.
Yeah, no, that is actually true. To be fair, a lot of people wouldn't have probably assumed that someone from England would have moved to Poland. I've always wanted to go to Poland. I had two friends that ended up going there, and they told me it was amazing. They went to Krakow,
Krakow.
and yeah, they said it was amazing. So I really do want to check it out. Your name itself. I want to start off with this question: where did you get Vizeh from?
Xbox 360, this Xbox gamer tags. I was into, quick scope, no scope, Modern Warfare 2, and I just needed a name that was short because my old Xbox name is something called Evo X Predator, very classic Modern Warfare 2 dank gamer memes kind of names. And basically, if you got a quad feed, it wouldn't show up as a quad feed because like it's too long, so it kind of spams it all out. So you needed a short name. And I think I was on the Xbox screen for like half an hour, just kind of thinking of random names, and I just kind of just put it all together, and it was like, like Vizeh, and then there was like TJ, whatever else, and I just kind of wanted it to start with a letter that was kind of a bit obscure, like a Y or a V or an X or a Z or something. But I wanted a Z in it. I just don't know why. I just felt like I wanted a Z in it somewhere, anywhere. So eventually I just came up with the name Vizeh, which is weird because I was thinking of a Bizzer or Vizeh. And then my friend said Jizzer, which I was like, let's not catch a case here. So fortunately for my life, I did not go with that. But yeah, Vizeh was the name I came out with. Actually, it was Vizeh, if I'm being very literal. But I came up with that, and I just always kind of kept it. I thought it sounded kind of cool.
Yeah, thankfully you didn't go with Jizzer. I don't think Toby Jizzle is very happy with what he ended up choosing as his name, because I'm sure he gets so thankfully you didn't go with Jizzer. I want to go on to sort of your childhood, and we mentioned there sort of your relationship with your mum, who obviously passed away. And before when we were talking before this podcast over Twitter DMs, I asked you sort of, do you have any sort of life achievements that would be really interesting to talk about, or some sort of interesting, just part of your life? And you sent me a documentary from Sportsman Bet, which was about a 20-minute interview with you. And I learned a lot about you, and I related so much more to you than I originally thought. You grew up in Barrowford, which is actually only about 20-minute drive away from me. So it's quite close.
Whereabouts are you from?
Where's that? Sorry.
Whereabouts are you from?
I don't know if you've heard of it. I'm from Haslingden.
I know Haslingden.
Yeah.
Is that near Akiside or like
yeah.
Aki side, yeah. I know that area.
Also, most people from Burnley don't know that area.
Is it near Huncourt?
Kind of. You can. Kind of, yeah.
I think it's because I remember seeing it on like the signs of like motorway on M65 or like on buses, because my ex actually funnily enough lived in Huncourt. So like I remember that name because I used to go to Aki and Huncourt often to see her. Only lasted 3 months, so unfortunate for that.
Well, I mean, I guess the good thing is that you learn about Haslingden. Not many people know Haslingden, so I'm actually quite happy that you actually knew. Yeah, that's why I didn't say. I just said 20 minutes ago. I just figured you probably won't know where it is. Anyway, yeah. So I want to start off. In the interview, you talk about how you had a speech impediment, and so you sort of struggled with I guess speaking, and being able to show your emotion, and then eventually you ended up losing your mum at 13 years old. Now, for a lot, obviously losing a parent for anyone is extremely difficult. It was difficult for me as well. But for you, it seemed to have been even more difficult than sort of other people. Why was that, if I could ask?
I mean, I wouldn't really say it's like more difficult than other people, really, because I still had a solid base in my father. He was always there for me, my dad, and like he was always very important. I always had that solid base. Like I always knew where my home was. I always had one house which I lived in my entire childhood, which most people didn't have that. Maybe they go from house to house to house, and you're moving from this place to that place, and different towns and cities across the country. So I always had that solid base. I had my brothers with me as well. So it's weird because with my mom, she got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, MS, before I was born. Like about a couple months and a year before I was born, so very close. And then basically that's why they may think that my speech impediment was because of that. Apparently, as alleged, I guess. So she was essentially, a normal childhood till about the age like 6 or 7, and then basically, if you don't know what MS is, multiple sclerosis is basically a nerve. It's a disease that basically affects all your nerve endings, and simple things like walking is impossible, grabbing things is impossible. You can't wash yourself. Like, it just gets worse and worse and worse. Your brain thinks I want to move my arm out here, but then it just doesn't. And if it does, it's very delayed, and it just gets worse and worse. That's basically what it is. And it may not sound like the worst thing in the world, but it drives you crazy pretty much. That it seems like her life is pretty much just completely getting away from her. So when it did essentially, come the day that, like she passed away, half of me, because I spent the last 5 years of my life seeing my mum, basically not fade away, but, slowly have a worse standard of living. She can't even wash herself anymore. She needs people to help her out and cook for her and clean for her. She wasn't living a life anymore. And at the end of the day, it was her choice. She made the choice to stop eating. Like, she was she had nurses around at a place each day, and she wasn't living at a stage. It was her own choice to stop eating, to kind of just accelerate the process. And yeah, it was her choice, really. And I respect it. I can't say no to that, really. So it wasn't really like a sudden death. It kind of, when the day came, I was kind of, you can't really prepare for a parent to pass away, especially age of 13, but it wasn't as bad as what I guess it could have been if it was sudden.
Yeah, no, again, I sort of relate to that as well. In the sort of, again, not fade away, but you almost sort of expect. I was a little younger, so I never really expected it. But then at the same time, in hindsight, I think I was aware of what was going on. My mum had cancer, and so she had a hospital bed at home. She often needed help with different sort of things. So I completely get that. What sort of impact do you think that had? Obviously, seeing at a young age, seeing your mum, extremely ill, and then obviously pass away. What sort of impact do you think that had on you at 13 years old, and then maybe even you later down the line?
I had to grow up. I had to grow up at an early age. I was like looking after my mom, not as much as my brothers and my dad, of course, but like I had to, like when you're 13, 12, 14, like your kind of ideal life is like, what is it? You're just playing with your friends on Xbox, or just out and climbing trees and shit. I did that anyway, of course, but like I just had to grow up. And when that situation came and I knew she was going to pass away, that's how I viewed life, was just so much more kind of serious in that sense. That's why, like, when my mates was doing drugs and they were drinking alcohol and having parties at age of like 15, 14, 16, it didn't really interest me anywhere near as much, honestly. And I didn't really get involved in that. It's like, to this day, I've never had any drugs other than weed, like a few times. Like, literally, it doesn't interest me, really. But yeah, it made me a lot more serious and a lot more kind of like, just I needed to know what I wanted to do in my life. Pretty much, I had to just sort me out and go down a path. And that path was graphic design. When I was doing Modern Warfare 2 and I was making like these random awful YouTube designs for my mates, I like the kind of feeling of like you make someone and they enjoy it and they use it and they say thank you. And I really enjoyed having a purpose, because when you're younger, you always need a kind of feeling of gratitude. People enjoy something that you do. So yeah, I got into graphic design on Photoshop legally, totally. I definitely didn't download it illegally, Photoshop. I definitely could afford £300 at age of 13, 14. And I just got into graphic design then, and just that's a path that I picked really at college, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, no. I know I'm not trying to make it about me, but again, I sort of relate to that as well. Like, you do get that feeling of you having to grow up quicker, because you've got one parent rather than having both, and you've dealt with trauma quite earlier on in your life. I think that's something that a lot of people don't really necessarily think about. I think a lot of people, people who have two parents usually think, oh, it's probably just an immediate thing and maybe there's a few consequences, but after that it gets better. Whilst really it just sort of pushes you you have to be more mature, because you have to be mature to deal with it. And I think I relate to that on another level. You mentioned there about how you got into Photoshop and you created little graphics for your friends. And then you ended up getting on YouTube. What was your thinking behind that? Why did you get on YouTube? Because at that time, YouTube wasn't what it is now, where it's this massive platform that everyone's on. It was still fairly unique, I guess. You had your odd people like Syndicate and KSI, but it was a bold move to put yourself out there at 13 years old.
It was 2011. 2011. That's when I did my first ever YouTube video. Now I've always known YouTube since like 2007 or 8. There was a PC in our house, and we always, I remember like watching Fernando Torres Atletico Madrid compilations when he just signed for Liverpool. Like he's like one of my man crush footballers, which I loved Fernando Torres. I don't know why I just did. So I remember like being in my living room, like when I was like 9, 10 years of age, watching Fernando Torres compilations and all that stuff. So I've always been aware of YouTube. But my first ever videos was like Call of Duty montages, going on Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 1. They're still on my channel, on a channel called Evo X Preds. Like they're still there. I made my own clan called Evo X Nation. Didn't kick off. It was literally just me and 3 people, including myself. So just me and 2 people, really. And that's still on my YouTube now. I think it could be 2010, actually, like late 2010. But I did little montages with literally a Sony camera that my dad gave me. I put it on a tripod, which was on top of a book, which is classic, really. And just did it on Windows Movie Maker. And that's how I started off. And then I got into graphics. And then on my current channel now, if you go on my channel, my oldest videos are graphic design videos. They're like speed arts of YouTube banners that I made with my friends. And then a few photo manipulations. There's one called Sunrise or something, and I thought it was the best thing ever. Like I've made like this amazing thing, which was like I was 14, 13 or something. I loved it. And yeah, I got on YouTube like that, and then I liked people like Markiplier and PewDiePie. So then I got into scary games. So if you go back my channel, you see scary games. Sonic.exe and Slender was a massive thing back then. That was a massive trend. So I got into Slender. Didn't really help on my channel, but that's how I kind of got into YouTube. And then I kept doing that. And then in the middle of that kind of period, that is when like my mum passed away. Actually, right at the start of it. And basically, it was early 2013 that it was February 17th. That's when she passed away. There's a video on my channel called Update, which I'm pretty sure I've unlisted. It's basically me doing a video for 2 minutes. Like, yeah, my mum has passed away. I'm not going to upload videos. And I look back thinking, I had about 100 subscribers. No one cared if I didn't upload videos. But for some reason, I thought that people cared about my 100 subscriber graphic design YouTube channel, that I got to do an update saying my mum's passed away, no videos. And I was like, if you watch it back, the kind of pain in my voice about the fact that I can't upload videos. And I'm just like, no one cares. Like, looking back in hindsight, it's a bit dumb. But I remember exactly where I was. I was on my bed. I woke up. My dad literally told me half an hour before that my mum passed away. I went on my laptop and then did a video because I felt like I had to. Like, I owe it to people to like tell them the fact that I can't do any videos because of this reason. And then I've always liked FIFA. I've always liked football. And then scary games just slowly transformed from FIFA 13 to FIFA content. And then that's what really started my progression to YouTube, really.
Yeah, and then it's funny, you mentioned there about how you were using a tripod and books. I'll be honest, mate, my setup right here is a cheap Android earphones, my laptop on top of a suitcase on top of my bed. So
suitcase is a good one. That's very stable.
Yeah, it is a very good one. And because basically it gives me the height, so it lifts it up, and then plus it's directly in front of the window as well. So it gives the best possible light that I can possibly do on a £0 budget. But it's mad to think that that's what you were doing in 2011. I know YouTube was starting to kick off back then. Why? I know you kind of explained it there, but I want to get into the fact that you were 13 years old. You were 13 years old at a very young age. And yet you were putting out content, and the interview that I watched about you before this podcast, you were putting out content for years and years and years, not making anything of it. You were just doing it, which is unheard of now. To do it for 5 years and not make anything, no one's doing that these days, especially not at 13 years old. Why do you think you were so persistent at such a young age after having gone through so much already?
I don't actually know. Like because I got viewers of mine on like, Twitch or on YouTube or people in the community, like fans of mine, and that they say, oh, I got YouTube. I'm like, oh, okay, just stay consistent. Just stay consistent. It's like they do it for like a week, maybe a month. They upload like 2 videos a week and they're like, this is too hard, man. It's too hard. I've not got 1,000 subs yet. This is awful. And I'm just there like, what was I thinking when I was doing YouTube? I remember what I was doing. Like it took me until the start of FIFA 15 to get my first 1,000 subs. And I've been doing videos since 2011. It took me 4 years to get my first 1,000 subs. It took me 5.5, 6 years to earn a single penny. I got, I think it's Curse called Uni for Gamers. That was my first MCM, my first ever like network that can give you money. And I think it's like late end of 2015. That was my first ever payment from YouTube. And I was just there like, what? And I tracked it all back thinking, I uploaded like 500 videos in the space of those 4 years, and I didn't earn anything. And I don't know, other than boredom. I think boredom, and like, I think giving you that identity, because I think a lot of people think that they're the same as everyone else. Everyone wants attention and everyone wants that kind of, it kind of sounds weird, but like, USB, like unique selling point. They want that kind of unique thing about them that makes them different to someone else. And mine was, I did YouTube. Now, it was very awkward when I was in high school. I had like 500 people and like, 500 subs, getting like 60 views of video. It's a bit embarrassing, but I just kind of kept at it because I thought, well, I mean, what if, I just thought, what if it does kick off? What if it does do well? Because I always kind of think, if I don't do it, then I'm always going to think for the rest of my life, what if I cracked on with it? And that was kind of my mentality. I got bored. And I had a few lucky breaks during FIFA 16. That's when things really kind of kicked off for me with YouTube.
I mean, you say lucky, but working, 5 years, around 500 videos before you sort of got anything. I wouldn't say it's lucky. I'd say it's probably deserved. Again, at a time where people knew you could make money, but it was still sort of weird and still sort of, again, it hadn't blown up to what it is now, where I think I saw something, the amount of videos that are uploaded every minute is ridiculous. It's crazy on YouTube. I can't remember what the number is. And if you look it up, you'll be able to see.
Yeah, it's so hard now. It's so hard now to get to YouTube now. Like, it's so, like, so many people. It's dumb.
Yeah, it is. It's mental. What sort of advice would you give to me as someone who does upload this podcast on YouTube, and just anyone in general who's doing YouTube or doing anything social media related?
3 things. Number 1, consistency. You will never ever build an audience if you don't be consistent. If you can't upload 1 video a week and then do 1 video every 3 weeks and then do a video a month. Like, you can't build an audience, because you got to give people a reason why they should invest their time in you. They're not going to invest time in someone that they think, number 1, isn't taking it seriously, or number 2, don't think is on the up. They want to see something there. They want to see something that's relatable, something that makes them laugh. That's the main thing that people care about with YouTube. So consistency is the most important thing. That's for me the most important, because I mean, I guess probably enjoying it. Don't do it with the mind of, I want to make money, because I did 5 years of making videos, about 400, 500 videos, and I didn't earn a single penny. I just did it because I love the idea of progressing. It's the same reason why people love video games, because they like to progress. Go play COD. You can go from level rank to this. You can get this extension pack and whatever else, and this skin and camo. And I like to progress with YouTube, because I felt there was a great satisfaction of going from 500 subs to 600 subs. Me getting 100 subs now doesn't seem as big a deal as what it was when I had 500 subs. But back then it was like, wow, that's like, a 10th, 20% of my channel gained up just like that. So enjoy it, no matter what it is. If it's podcasting, what you do, if it's playing FIFA, make gameplay videos, if it's doing vlogging, if it's kind of educational videos, just enjoy it, and you gotta have a passion for it, because people can tell. And then 3rd thing as well, which I probably recommend, is most important, not most, but it helps out a lot, is it's almost like networking, knowing people within a community, knowing people on Twitter, on Instagram, other YouTubers, collaborations, very, very important. The main reason which I like went up at my time. Well, I've had two ups that really put me where I am now. One was like a very fast increase, which was back in FIFA 16, bait 67, inviting to Fatal. Now the reason why I was put to Fatal with all these big YouTubers, Nick 2080, Bateson, The Penfest, DJ Mario, these 1 million plus channel, YouTube channels, and I was there with like 10,000 subs. The only reason why I was in there is because I was doing graphic designs, doing thumbnails for Reeve HD, for JMX, for Burnt Chip, for Easton Gibb, for Wayback. I was making a bunch of thumbnails for their YouTube channels back in FIFA 15. So because he asked that you wanted like a new guy on, a smaller guy, they all suggested me. And that was the main reason why I got my first kind of blow up. I gained like 10,000 subs in like a month. And I had 10K to begin with. I doubled my channel. Now, that was a good thing and a bad thing, because that's essentially almost killed my channel at the same time, because 10,000 people subscribed for that content of Fatal, for that series. As soon as the Fatal series ended, most people left. So I lost like 3,000 subs. But that was over the course of several months. So when I do gain subs and then losing subs at the same time. So that was a battle which I fought for like 9 months when I went to university. The Penfest, DJ Mario, these 1 million plus channel, YouTube channels, and I was there with like 10,000 subs. The only reason why I was in there is because I was doing graphic designs, doing thumbnails for Reeve HD, for JMX, for Burnt Chip, for Easton Gibb, for Wayback. I was making a bunch of thumbnails for their YouTube channels back in FIFA 15. So because he asked that you wanted like a new guy on, a smaller guy, they all suggested me. And that was the main reason why I got my first kind of blow up. I gained like 10,000 subs in like a month, and I had 10K to begin with. I doubled my channel. Now, that was a good thing and a bad thing, because that's essentially almost killed my channel at the same time, because 10,000 people subscribed for that content of Fatal, for that series. As soon as the Fatal series ended, most people left. So I lost like 3,000 subs. But that was over the course of several months. So when I do gain subs and then losing subs at the same time. So that was a battle which I fought for like 9 months when I went to university.
When you're seeing that sort of thing where you're now, because when you're starting, no one really unsubscribes. When you're on 100 subscribers, no one's unsubscribing. But then now all of a sudden, I don't know what the YouTube Studio app was like back then. But when someone unsubscribes, if someone subscribes, it says plus something. If it unsubscribes, then it's negative something. But you're seeing the sort of numbers going down, numbers going up. Is that demotivating you, or is that motivating you and telling you to push on more?
It was awkward because I went to uni, and I was 18 at that stage, and 18 you're adults. You're young, but you're adult. And I had my entire family, all my friends were all saying, just stick at uni. Stick at uni. I was doing a course at Northumbria University in Newcastle in interactive media design. I wanted to do graphic design. Funny enough, I actually applied for 5. So you get 5 choices. You get 5 applications to unis, right? 4 of them was all graphic design, and 1 of them was interactive media design, right? Guess which one I got accepted into? The only one that wasn't goddamn graphic design. I applied at Birmingham, I applied at Nottingham Trent, and 2 Northumbria, which was graphic and interactive, and then Leeds. All of them said no, other than the one that I didn't really care about that much. I just put it in there to just because why not?
Yeah,
so
you got a 5th option as well.
Yeah, it was so annoying because like graphic was like the main thing, and there was graphic design elements in that course, but it wasn't like they had things about coding and about textiles, and I was just there like I don't really care that much about it. But yeah, my entire family was like, just stick at uni. And that was a safe option by a mile. Just made my family happy, just stick at uni. Because at this stage, YouTube was not paying me anything. I mean, it's been like £200, £250, £300 a month, which at uni, you'll take anything that you can get because you're living off pennies pretty much. I had 3 payments for your university credit, and student finance. And I think I got paid like every 3 months, and it was like 2K or 2.5K, I think, around that kind of region.
Going on your rent anyway.
Oh no, I think rent was already paid. Oh, I don't know my first year. My first year. I think I was already paid because I was living at a student accommodation. I forgot. Maybe that was already paid, but was took out to begin with, so that I received the rest of it. I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like 2K to live off for like 3-4 months. That sounds like you could do that, but that means you're living like desperate, like living off bourbon biscuits from Morrison's and that. But yeah, I went to uni. I love Morrison's. Morrison's is.
I work at Morrison's.
It's the most underrated place. Meal deals and sausage rolls. Meal deals is the best there. I swear to God. So
you know what? I don't know if you listen to the Jackmate podcast.
Sometimes,
yeah, and they're proper into meal deals and stuff. But they always use like Tesco or like Co-op as the example. I'm like, Morrison's is the one.
Morrison's the best, man. Tesco's is good. It's probably second, but Morrison's is underrated, man, for me.
Fully is as well, because everyone just sort of goes to like Tesco or Asda because like they're the big ones. But Morrison's it because I didn't even know how good Morrison's was until I started working there, and then I was like, you know what, this place is really good. It's got so many options, right? And if you ever go to a big Morrison's, you got everything. You can make your own.
You've got all the options, and there's like massive, like you could get like what's like the proper fancy drink that's like you could get part of a meal deal. It's like, I forgot what it's called. I've not been in England for a year. Purdy's part of a meal deal. I love Purdy's. It's great.
Purdy's? Well, I don't.
It's a proper fan. It's like it's a drink that would cost like £3 to begin with, but it's part of a meal deal. It's like £2. It's like a fancy sparkling drink.
I'm in there tomorrow morning, so I'll have to check that out. Yeah, no, I was in there today as well. Yeah, no, I'm glad you said that. I'm happy about that because no one ever rates Morrison's, and I always tell them it is a good place to shop. And I work there, so happy days.
Well, basically, the frozen aisle in Morrison's at Newcastle, near Biker, I've like literally that entire frozen section destroyed because of me. Yeah. Like literally, like you're paying like 80p for like a 20 bag of like fish fingers and for like chicken strips. Sick. And there's like is it CFC, like the BTEC KFC bucket thing that costs like £2. Literally, I lived off that the entire year for my first year in uni. It was like £2 for bots of like 20 of each chicken thing. Tasted awful, but it's £2, so no one cares. Exactly, a bit of diabetes in there, but you're fine.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's just a little bit of diabetes, maybe a bit of cholesterol.
I'm sure that's the cause of COVID. That's probably the cause of COVID.
It probably
SFC
is, to be fair.
Buckets.
Honestly, if you look at the back of some of those like chicken or meat products, it says how much meat is in them. And like, the cheap ones, it's actually ridiculous. They're like 20% meat.
Yeah.
So what else is in there? That's what I'm asking. It's disgusting.
It's just children.
It's just children. Just mixed up children. Is that a Vizeh exclusive right there?
No. Allegedly, please don't sue me, Morrison's. Please do not sue me.
I was going to say, please don't sack me, Morrison's. I need the job. I need it for uni. I know. Anyway, so you were told uni was the safe option, right? And you kind of did you go? I mean, I can't really remember now. Did you go against that and did you drop out, or did you end up finishing your degree and then continue with YouTube?
So essentially, end of year one, which was FIFA 17 period, so 2017 to 18. Basically, my YouTube was, so this is the main part of like my entire like YouTube story here, was that I was kind of doing YouTube alongside it, like doing like 2 videos a week, because I was trying to live a uni lifestyle. I try to go to my courses, try to do my homework or whatever bullshit they want me to do, right? Which I did. Barely any of it. I'm gonna be honest, I barely did any of it. But I went. That was the main thing, right? But you got this idea of like you only live once, and like you at uni, freshers week. You're there for the entire year. You're the first year. So I was out a lot drinking. That's just kind of what happens. And like I was just living the life of like a uni student, and I was trying to do my videos alongside it, and I just wasn't making much money. I just wasn't doing as well as I wanted to. And like, I can't show to my dad that like, I want to continue doing YouTube when I was barely earning anything. So basically what happened, so I got into a relationship with a woman around Christmas time from back home in Burnley. And she broke up with me on the 1st of March, 2018. Now, the reason why it's very key that date was because that was, I swear to God, it was like it was fate. Because at that stage, my uni course was going down the bin. My YouTube going down the bin. I had to tell my dad at some stage that, oh yeah, my YouTube is flopping, and also I'm no longer going to be at uni anymore. Or if I will, it'll be a different course. So I was in a complete fucking mess. I was gonna be broken up with and heartbroken and all that dumb shit, right? And I swear to God, the day that she broke up with me, my YouTube channel just flew, and it's so weird. It was
That's
like
mad.
it was. It was like it was, if you go back in my social, but I could show you my analytics. The second she broke up with me, I had like 2 or 3 videos just sort of banging, and the main one was 20 types of FIFA 17 players. I think I put it on like honestly like 27th of February, and it was after like a couple of days. It did all right, and then it just banged. Then I realized, okay, this kind of thing works. I banged 100 things we hate about FIFA at Christmas. That did really well, and I didn't realize, holy shit, I did that. That did really well. Why just do more of that? So I put myself to do more skits. And it's skits, top 10 things, 100 types, 10 things, like all this kind of skit material. And I went from like, I think like 20K, 21K to about 50K within about a space of 3-4 months. So then I decided to stay at Newcastle because I got asked by my friends that I was with up there to join their flat. I started making a bit of money with YouTube, about like 1K or something. And I know, actually not 1K, not yet. I was in about £600 a month. You should have seen the look at my dad's face when I said that I'm going to drop out of uni while I'm earning £600 at YouTube.
Yeah.
You should have seen the look at his fucking face. My rent was £408 a month. So I essentially was put in this situation. I go up to Newcastle to purposely only do YouTube for FIFA 18. I got 1 year. This was the year of my life, pretty much, that I had to make it work.
You had to make it.
I had to make it work. I was on like 40 odd K at a stage, like 47K when I first went up to uni. When I first went back up to Newcastle, second year, around August, to start FIFA 18. And I had to no-life the shit out of it. I mean, every single type of video I could possibly do, I did. Double upload every day for about 2 months straight. If you look back at my channel back then, it literally was relentless. Everything that I could throw on that wall to stick, I made it stick. Or it flopped and I throw it again. Keep throwing that shit on the wall. Eventually it'll stick. And thank God it stuck. Because I couldn't afford my rent pretty much to actually live. I was living on like £600 a month. So I was like, and I never asked my dad. This is one thing. I've never asked my dad for money once. I hate the idea of asking for money because it feels like I failed as a person, as an adult. I don't ask for money unless it's very, very like something that's out of my hands pretty much. And so I put myself in a situation. I've got to get myself out of it. And I had to make it work. And thank God, obviously it did. And I went from like 40K to about 100K within a space of like 5 months or something during FIFA 18. That's what really started me off. And I went from like earning like £500 to then like 3K within a space of like 3 months. And it was like, I felt like I was like top of the world pretty much.
What was your dad's reaction to when you basically proved that you can live off this and you can make this full time? What was your dad's face then?
He was just proud. Yeah. My dad, he was never really fully against it, like fully. It was like he understood how, like, he didn't know what YouTube really was, but he knew how much I enjoyed it and he trusted me, but he just never knew what YouTube actually is. He didn't really know you could really make much money off it at all. So, like, he just didn't see it as a possibility, but he still trusted me. Hence why he allowed me in the first place. Otherwise, my ear will be dragged back to Burnley instantly, pretty much. He was very just proud, and I was just kind of telling him, just trust me on this. My stepmom, because like they were both very cautious because they were just like, how long can this last? Because that's a month or 2 months, and fortunately, it's still going. Fortunately, so yeah, that was a scary part of my life, man.
Yeah, no, I bet. And like you said, it was essentially make or break, because if you didn't do it, then your dad would have dragged you back home, and who knows what other path you would have ended up being on. I want to sort of move a bit more forward from that. So you're doing quite well. This was probably roughly when I actually first saw a video of yours. I think the first time I ever saw yours was when I was proper getting in. Well, I was always into career mode, but I was proper getting into watching career mode. And I think I watched your FIFA 18 career mode.
Is that Burnley career mode? Yeah.
Yeah, the Burnley one. Yeah. And that was the first time I'd ever watched it. I'd ever came across. And I subscribed. I actually saw on my phone. I'm actually still subscribed. So I subscribed. I remember, and I remember watching you and thinking, even back then, that you were quite a high energy, quite a person. You know, you were quite excited. Even now, you seem like you're quite, out there. I don't know how to, just you've got
yeah. I know what
personality.
you mean.
You know what I'm saying, trying to say, yeah.
Yeah.
But then when I saw the tweet that you sent out recently about how 2 years ago you were in this awful place, which is pretty much just after this blow up phase, I'm assuming, or it might have been during, or it might have been just before. You were at a point where you were suicidal, you were reliant on alcohol, and you ended up calling the Samaritans. If you don't mind me asking, what was the sort of process that led up to that point, and how did that come about?
Well, I need to state that a very important fact that I wouldn't say I was ever suicidal. I was never suicidal. I just felt very lost and very confused. Unfortunately, across my entire life with my mum, I've never really had suicidal thoughts or self-harm thoughts or really anything like that. I guess self-harm is a loose term because I wasn't purposely. People think of self-harm, they literally just think of slitting wrists and stuff for that, which is a thing that does happen with some people, and that is fucking awful. But like self-harm in terms of like alcohol is a very common thing that is a form of self-harm. So basically, I blew up at Newcastle. I was around all my mates in uni, and I was just like living a dream. I came back home. I've decided, okay, you know what? I'm gonna come back home to Burnley. I'm gonna go live with my mates, with my family, be there for a year. I got a year right now. I got a house in my hometown of Balford, very nice house. I went, it was like 700 and something pound rent, and I was there like I'm back with my family. This is what they wanted. I could go see my friends every day, and I thought this is it now. This is the dream pretty much, and very quickly kind of turned into kind of like everything I thought it could be. It would have been, just wasn't the case at all. And this kind of brings me into what I think is a massive issue with people in England, and it's a vile fucking alcohol problem and the alcoholic culture which is embedded in our society in England, that I just couldn't do anything that wasn't reliant on alcohol. I couldn't see any of my friends unless he was going to play football, even that involved alcohol afterwards. Before, I couldn't do anything without seeing my friends that wasn't to do with alcohol. So I was just surrounded all times, and it just became a thing that I was like that guy that always went to nights out down Burnley because that was my one thing that I looked forward to. I wake up, I do my videos on YouTube, I stream for a bit, which my streaming guy had things called nukes, which is a £25 donation. There's a nuke like noise and a GIF shows up. Fucking I do it. I grab a shoe and I put Jägermeister in it, and I drink out of a shoe. I drink beers out of a shoe. And basically, this was over the course of 6 months that I went from come back from Newcastle, come to Burnley. Every time I see my friends, I'm drinking. Every time I see my family, it's relatively calm. But I didn't see which it really kind of. I was like, okay, well, I saw you probably more times when I was up in Newcastle than it was when I was actually living a minute away from you, pretty much. So I felt a bit annoyed with that. And basically,
was that your family? Sorry.
I lived very close to them, and I didn't see them as much as I thought I would have. Some I did more than others, to be fair, but it just kind of felt like I was there with them, but I wasn't at the same time. You know what I mean? It just felt very, just kind of odd of a situation. But yeah, this happened of course many months, and I just turned into the guy that was always out on nights out in the dirtiest places. I mean, you can imagine Burnley isn't a very clean place at times, especially on a night out. And I was there on Friday nights and Saturday nights and Tuesday nights. I was there down Bees Knees and Project and Maud. Maud was this absolute shithole place that was only open at the last place open. And if you were there, then you were either all on drugs or very desperate. And I met a big part as well. I met a lass when I was in Newcastle as well, which I was still talking to. And this is the big part of this Samaritans call, really, that I was kind of being led on for a long time. I went to Paris twice. So I went on a bus to Paris. It cost me 15 quid, and I thought it was an absolute bargain. I was on a bus about 18 hours to go to Paris from Balford. I went to Manchester to London, and London to Paris. And I went to Burnley, I was like this YouTuber, and I thought I'd be like this big guy. And then went to nights out, and I just realized I'm just like this normal fucking dude. And I think my ego was really big back then as well. And when you're on alcohol, it goes even higher and your anxiety goes higher. So I go nights out and I think I was trying to find a lass. Yeah, which is like dumb, but you're 19 and you're 18, you drink and you're like, oh yeah, this is what life is, what nightlife is, because I got turned down a lot. So now, and then I had this lass, which I was talking to, I can't say name obviously, but like it just wasn't working out at all. So, and then I see friends of mine who, from my opinion, from back then especially, that I was like, these people are like lower than me, which is a fucking awful thing to think of. And I was thinking, but they've got girls. And I drank even more. And then I went to a fucking mess. I was living in a house with trash everywhere. And basically I had a breakdown on stream, which I was there literally screaming at the top of my lungs, like in absolute tears. And like someone like said to me about my mum and was like, basically like saying how much she'd be proud of me or something. And that completely set me off. I was there already drunk anyway because like I drank to earn money because I got donations to drink more. So I was already drunk and I just fucking blew up. Like for half an hour screaming, saying about the fact that like I saw my mum die in front of my very eyes, and like which wasn't even true. I remember saying that like my mum said some very mad things to me, but just before she passed away, which I then spouted out, and I felt awful for that because like that shouldn't be out in the public really. And like it got to a stage that like a friend of mine which lived about in Colne, which is like 10 minutes away from me, he had to travel down a taxi at like 3 in the morning to then knock him out. They had to throw a rock at my window to say, what the fuck are you doing? Because I was nowhere to be contacted. So he had to go to my house and then knock on my door, actually basically forcefully open my door pretty much to stop the stream. So then like I just remember this realization. I look around my room and there's trash everywhere. Like I'm there drinking and there's beers everywhere. I'm having takeaways. There's boxes of Pizza Hut everywhere and Domino's. And there's takeaway boxes everywhere. I just look around and I'm a fucking mess. And like people that may have known me from, you know, back in my Twitch days back then, my mods and my regulars, they would remember that night very well. And then there was people that like everything I thought was my YouTube was doing quite well still. My YouTube wasn't doing that bad. It was just that I thought I made it, and then everything that I thought life was going to be, it wasn't. I didn't have the girl. I didn't really have friends that I had friends, but they just always did things that I didn't want to do. But I had to do it anyway with alcohol and everything else. And that was the situation I was at. So then literally I remember because I had my last I was talking to, I knew that it was over. And I was just there, I think I've been played on for like 6 months. So when I rang up the Samaritans, it was literally because of how fucking lonely I felt. I rang them up because like, why can't I get someone to love me? Why does no one love me? That was literally, when I rang Samaritans, it was literally because I can't find a lass which I actually have a connection with. I can't find anyone that that gives me any attention, which I actually feel like I give back. I say that I'm a loving person, but back then I went very fucking sinister. It was a time that like for a week or two, I went very like anti on almost everyone. That was like, fuck you, why does the world hate me kind of mentality. For like a week or two. Thankfully I got out of that. But I went on some mountains literally because why couldn't no one love me? Pretty much. That was what that phone call was. It was just some lass on the other line. It was like a 50-minute phone call. And I told about the last which I met in, you know, Newcastle, and she lived in Paris. And literally after that, I was just like, the fuck am I doing? Yeah, I remember I went on a night out, and after I knew that it was over, I was on I came back from drinking at 3 a.m, and I made a voicemail, which was an hour long. I was in the darkness on my living room floor, crying on the floor, and I was making a voicemail to her, which I knew I would never send. I was just there waffling. I was just there ranting. I was just there saying everything that I felt. And then I knew I wouldn't send to her, but I just deleted it instantly. But I just remember I was just on my floor crying, and I was just like, why have I done this? Why am I overthinking everything? And that was the lowest I've been. I would say that's debatably lower than my mum passing away, because I know that everything that I was at that time was all self-inflicted. Everything that I was back in that stage, I was all because of me, and all the choices that I made that I could have done so much better. And that was like probably the lowest stage I was. That's how I knew that I had to get away from Burnley. I had to get away from it. I couldn't stay around there. And like I got family of mine, because I now live in Poland, saying, come back to Burnley and like come back home, raise your kids in Burnley, come back to your family. and I get kind of judged in it for not being over there, but I can't fucking do it. And I've now got to them away that I'm like, I don't want them to have that experience. You know, it's their choice. Like, you know, I just feel like life over is so much better for a child in Poland from what I've seen with my, you know, fiance's brother, that I want her to have a better chance, because with England, it's, it looks a lot better when you're there than when you get a view from the outside world. It just looks so much different.
It's so fascinating to hear from, because I don't drink. I've never drank. I've never done any sort of substance abuse or anything like that. But I've always believed that there is this sort of underlying alcoholic culture in Britain that is very unhealthy, that isn't very safe, and essentially, you are, whether people want to admit it or not, when you're 18, you're expected to want to go out all the time, to want to drink, to want to get, you know, pissed and you know, get home at 3 a.m. and be hungover, etc., etc. But it's so fascinating to hear someone who's lived it and who now criticizes sort of the British culture around alcohol. You know, how crazy we get. Obviously, I understand why people drink and it's to have a good time or whatever, but it does get to the point where it becomes way too crazy. Like we saw it at the Euros. Like I'm fully for England. I was screaming at the TV. You know, I was shaking my water about. I didn't have alcohol, obviously, and whatever.
Shaking my water about, yes.
Yeah, like going, yeah, come on.
Yo, I bet you even went so mental, you even fucking popped up in a slur.
Yeah, oh mate, now the slur was only going to come out in the final. If we won, it didn't come out.
Oh,
anyway, we don't need to talk about that. That did not happen. But like the whole before the game, before the final, you know, people running into Wembley, you know, because there were a lot of these people would have been drunk, right? Running into Wembley, hurting people, you know, little young people getting hurt, you know, severely ruining an experience for so many people. I hope it made people realize that maybe there is a bit of an alcohol sort of culture that we need to address that never does get addressed. And I think when people like you talk about it, people that have experienced it and talk about how you had to move to another country to get away from it, it is so powerful. And I don't know what could you sort of elaborate more on that, on the what you think is maybe the problem or the issue, not just in Burnley but maybe in England or in general when it comes to alcohol?
I feel like because there's an incredible lack of actual activities around anything else that's not to involve alcohol. If there's anything that's hobbies wise, you need money to pay for it. If it's to pay for facilities, if it's to pay for like the equipment, there's not many hobbies that you can get in England which doesn't involve a lot of money. In Poland, for example, there's so many football pitches that's always free. AstroTurf pitches which I paid £100 to rent out for an hour with my friends. It's completely free here, for example. Things that literally, like, maybe because the cost of everything here in Poland is also very, very cheaper. Getting bikes, get just a bike, mountain bikes, go cyclist, whatever else. I just feel like with England, there's a very, very, it's drilled into society of England that it's like you go to high school, you are forced down a path. You're age 14. When I'm age 14, I couldn't even keep my dick down. I'd bonus every day. And you're saying, pick 5 options and you stick down this one path and you're going to decide. So you're going to be an engineer, you're going to go be into creative arts, you're going to go be a musician, you're going to go into science.
You've got to make your life decision at 14. Mental.
Yeah. I couldn't keep my dick down. So I understand, like, fortunately for me, I actually kind of knew what I wanted to do and I stuck with graphics. Now, I went on the outside part of YouTube and I made my life fair, which I'm very, I worked fucking hard for that. I worked very hard for that. But for most people, I know friends of mine that's, you know, doing the same job they did when they were 17, 16, and they still do it now. There's, you know, apprentice at engineering place, they're 22, 23, they're still at engineering place. They're just doing the same thing. 9 to 5, Monday, Friday. The weekends, they can put their feet up, go have a few drinks with their mates. And that's life.
If they're happy, they're happy.
But 80% of people that I know, it's literally they work, maybe a few drinks, you know, midweek, have a takeaway or two. Because you don't have enough time to do anything else. You don't have time to do much else after that. Like, because, I mean, it depends what people you're around, I guess. But people are happy with that. And if you're happy with that, that's the main thing. If you're happy, I'm happy for you. But that's just such a normal thing that everyone I know does back home in England. Now, I've not come to Poland just because of like my experience with alcohol. Of course, like I met my last Sonia, who's Polish, when so basically I went from Burnley and moved into a YouTuber house, which lasted about a couple of months. One of my YouTuber mates, he knew Sonia and like from Discord, and basically we started talking, and I didn't intend to do anything. Honestly, I literally just played like a game or two with her on Minecraft or something, just a random stupid game. And then literally it just kind of just happened. Literally just like, oh, well, you actually are pretty sound. And it's like, yeah, cool as well. And then like we just kind of like met up because she came up to the YouTuber house to see everyone. I didn't intend to do anything, but it just kind of just grew over time. And then we got together, and then we kind of had the option of like either stay in England and pay £1,000 just to live each month off bills and taxes and council tax, or go to Poland and let you have a house already made for us, because it costs like nothing to make houses over here and to renovate places. And I thought, well, I'm 22, I do YouTube, I can live anywhere, so I jumped for it. And that's where we are right now.
I know, yeah, that is mental. Just before we get onto that, I want to ask you, and I just love how throughout the podcast, your dog has just been just walking around across the room, coming in, and you've been petting him. It's brilliant. I want to ask you, what that 50-minute Samaritans call, and just after that, about you sort of getting better mentally. Look, he's now joined us on the podcast.
He really does like attention. It's just like me. He really loves attention.
He wants to join in on the podcast. Does he have any words of wisdom?
Got any words? There you go.
Do you have any words of wisdom? What's his name?
Levi. No, he's
bless him.
Shy. Trust me, he's kind of shy.
What was it? Yeah. So what did the woman on the phone say to you? And what was the for people that may be struggling as well? What was the process like afterwards, after that phone call of essentially trying to get better now, because you'd realized that this alcohol culture wasn't for you?
You know what? I don't actually remember an awful lot about that phone call, mainly because I'm so embarrassed by it that I remember it happened, but a lot of it was kind of more of a blur to me. I remember the feeling, and the feeling was just a feeling of just pure, just like being more just comfortable. Just felt a lot more comfortable of that. Where I'm at right now in life is somewhere which someone would dream to be. You know, I was 19 in a house and I'm paying £7 a month or £8 a month just to live. I've got a comfortable job, and like, you know, she said to me like, "Oh, how's like your family situation?" I told her, and she's like, you know, like, do you think that is something that you should be grateful for? Like, how do you feel about your family? And that, like, do you think that is something that could be, you know, better? I would say like, probably not. No, I guess considering people that I know, and they're in much more worse situations than me. It's all comparisons to everyone else. The humans are very bad at comparing everything to everything else. It's so annoying that we always do that, and you overthink everything. But to anyone that has gone through anything, if it's a breakup or if it's a loss of a loved one, or if it's just a pure feeling of feeling detached from people, the world, feeling left out. I've been left out a lot. I was a fat little bastard growing up, and I was never invited to really any real parties. I was kind of like the outsider, and you know, it didn't bother me too much. I did have a friendship group, you know, at that time, so it wasn't that bad. I wasn't purely alone, but you kind of feel like I could be different. You know, I could do this and I could do that. And you think, what if I could do this? And you just playing tricks with your mind about a fake life which you don't have, other than just living the life that you literally do have and the options that you have right then. And that could be something as simple as going to the gym, changing your diet, walking a bit, jogging for 2-3K each day. These little things that you can add into your routine changes the world. Drinking more water. Now, seems kind of weird as I've got a quart bottle right here right now, but that's because I just came back from the gym earlier today.
Yeah, I got the water.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I'm really craving. I don't know why, but I've I've been playing a lot of football recently, so I've earned this. So that won't do much to me. Trust me. It sounds really weird. I just want to say you see me drinking this, and it sounds really hypocritical.
Because you got to treat yourself as well, don't you? You can't just be healthy all the time, every time, all day. You got to treat yourself to a Coke. Got to treat yourself to a chocolate cake. You got to treat yourself to these things.
Yeah, health is key. Health is everything. Like health is power. If you can have all the money in the world, but if you're not healthy, then what does it really matter? So to anyone that is down in the dumps and feeling like they're not where they want to be, taking advantage and taking control of your lifestyle is the most important thing you possibly do. And it's probably the most easiest thing in reality, but it's also the hardest thing because it means you need to get into a cycle, because humans, they love to repeat shit. They love to be in a routine. That's all we rely on. And if we're not in a routine, then we feel lost. That's why people that don't have jobs, they feel so fucking lost in life, because they don't have that routine. And if they do have a routine, it's probably someone that's self-harming himself, and that's drinking alcohol, and that's sat down all day. And then you're just going to keep doing that until you hopefully snap out of it. And I hope that people do.
Yeah, no, 100%. The importance of a routine. I think lockdown definitely taught us that when you're out of the routine and you've got nothing to do, it becomes you feel so useless, and then you do start self-harming in the sense that you are eating unhealthily and you're not working out, whatever. Anyone that's sort of struggling, obviously, I find your story in general just fascinating, every element from the beginning to up until now. But one of the things that I find most fascinating about is the fact that you call the Samaritans, which is often, I assumed it was because you were suicidal. Most people would assume that if you call the Samaritans, it's because you're suicidal. You called them because you were lonely. And I think a lot of people sort of often struggle to go, okay, I might not be suicidal, but that doesn't mean I can't ask for help. You know what I mean? Like people feel like they can't ask for help because, someone else is worse than me, so I should never ask for help. I shouldn't waste their time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that's why yours is so important for people to know, especially that part of it, because you called them up because you were lonely, not because you were suicidal. And it has, in many ways, is one of the things that has changed your life, essentially, because you had that call, you did that voice note, which you didn't send. And for me personally, I mean, I'm not a therapist, but I feel like it helped you to get everything off your chest in a private way, so that it wasn't on stream, it wasn't, somewhere that was slightly more toxic. It was literally, I just want to get it off my chest. And that feeling would have been just incredible. And I think it is an incredible feeling for everyone when you can get those things off your chest.
I mean, and that is exactly what it was. It was a private way trying to sort out my own demons. If I got my family involved, I didn't really get my family involved, really. Like a little bit, with the last I was talking to, like a bit, but like not too much. I didn't want to get them in. I didn't want to get them involved because the more people get involved, the worse it'll be for you, because it's just extra, it's strings to everywhere which you got to deal with. Because I've not really spoke about this kind of stuff for 2 years, because that was a week in my life that I just had to sort my own shit out. And then I knew that I had to leave Burnley at that time period. I would probably go back another day, and I'm sure I will, because that's where my family is. But I'm a different person, I can have a drink. I still enjoy a drink, one or two, once or twice a month. I make sure it's not more than that. But yours is quite hard, to be fair. I think I went about maybe 3 or 4. That was for the demo game, and I didn't need to. I didn't need to drink that much. I just and it's so ingrained in, especially football culture, because I went home and away Burnley games, every single week for 3-4 years. So you're drinking all day then. It's so ingrained into me thinking, well, I'm watching football, I must have a pint. Otherwise, what am I doing? I'm doing something wrong. Now I'm not having a pint watching football. So I do drink, once or twice a month, probably once now, because there's probably no reason to right now. But if I do, it's like a cider or something, or maybe some sort of spirit, like a whiskey and coke or something. I don't really drink beer anymore. Beer is just kind of I hate the feeling of it now. How it makes you feel bloated and everything. I hate that feeling.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm always drinking my pint of water when watching football, man. I always need the water when watching. It gets me crazy sometimes, honestly.
Yeah. The feeling of hydration is important. I mean, I always drink 1 or 2 of these. This is a sponsor sneak, but this isn't promotion, but it's just it's a cheap way to have water. This is water and powder, and it's 12 calories or something. So I always have 2 of these a day, because it's basically just it's just flavored water, pretty much.
Sneak, if you want to sponsor the podcast, listen, hit me up. I love water, and I'll probably love water too.
Volvic. Where you at, boys?
Exactly. Oh yeah, Volvic. Any of them, hit me up. I love water. I'm obsessed with it. Or Pepsi Max Cherry as well. Don't mind a bit of Pepsi Max Cherry.
I'm not. I used to be a Pepsi Max fan growing up, but kind of over time, I've not got into it as much as I used to growing up. Nah, it's not for me now. It's not. For me.
See, I'm the opposite. I was never into it, and then when I started losing weight because it's so few in calories, I started drinking it, and it would help sort of keep me full as well.
It definitely helps with that. But like everyone palate, that's what happens when you get older. Your palate changes. I used to absolutely despise mushrooms. Now I actually don't mind it that much anymore.
Mushrooms are beautiful. I have mushrooms with everything now. I just love them.
I wouldn't say it's beautiful, but I would say it's there.
What's a beautiful food then for Liam?
Anything to do with potatoes. Potatoes is the most important vegetable thing on the planet. There's so many possibilities, and they're all great.
Oh yeah, 100%. I do agree with that.
Name me one shit thing that you could do with a potato. Even boiled potatoes are decent.
I was about to say boiled as well, but it is decent, isn't it?
With butter, it's fine. Anyway,
it's fine. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting you said that because you ended up your fiance took you. I still can't believe this. Took you to a 5-star all-inclusive hotel, and you decided to have fish fingers and mash, which is I can't believe that. I mean, they did look like good fish fingers and mash. It
was banging fish fingers. It was
I bet
thick.
it was.
It was thick, man.
Oh, they look beautiful. But I was there like, this man got fish fingers and mash. I could have made that for him for probably a third of the price, probably like a fifth of the price. But I mean, you mentioned your fiance, and so you've gone on this sort of incredible journey, right? You've gone, from the beginning, childhood trauma, essentially, with the mum passing away, struggling and calling the Samaritans and feeling lonely. Now, you recently announced you're becoming a dad. You've got a fiance, so you're getting married soon, and you're building a house in Poland. You're a successful YouTuber as well. It's an incredible journey. So congrats on all of them, especially on getting married and having a kid. What's that like so far? What all these sort of achievements? I'm going to ask you a specific one about you're going to be a dad soon. You tweeted, I think, recently about how before Christmas you'll be a dad. That's mental.
It is, isn't it? It is. It's I mean, we knew back in it would have been March. Yeah. And like I kind of still don't think it's actually real until the actual thing pops out. I don't think it's real until it's there. It's like, yeah, that's mine. Yeah, that is mine. That's my face and everything else. And it's I think because of like everything that I experience, I feel like it's what I need. I think it's what I need, and I think that I'm in a time of my life. Of course, you're never in a perfect time to have a child. No matter where you're in life, you always think, yeah, but I could do this to be the perfect time. Like literally, it's not like I'm 18 or 16. I'm 23 now. I'm at an alright age that I hope I am, that I've got the mental stability to have a child. I honestly just can't wait for it. Just having that being that will love you for the rest of your life. That's so important. And I think because of like my kind of chase for that kind of affection and that kind of like wanting someone to love me, I feel like that's also like kind of ticked it off the list as well. That like that's always going to be mine. Which like I hope that me and son will be together forever, of course. But like I guess just that's like locked in. That's like that's
child is like the next level, though, isn't it?
Yeah, a child is like a next level love. Of course, I've not felt that yet because it's not officially here yet. But when I watch Joe Rogan podcast or whatever else, and like you hear people that like have become a father, my friends that are fathers, like they just said like I can't describe it. Just imagine seeing this thing, this being that literally just changes the entire way you see life, pretty much. That whatever meaningless bullshit you think that you go through, it means nothing because this is what really matters, essentially. And I can't wait for it, honestly.
Yeah, no, like there's going to be a little female version of Liam running around the house, which is mental. Like that's going to be your flesh and blood. 50% of that is going to be you. It's going to get some of your traits. It's going to get some of Sonia's traits mixed together. And I do hope, your sort of ability to, all the lessons that you sort of learn, I'm more than sure that you're going to end up sort of teaching her that. And so she can benefit from all the stories that you've created in your life and all the experiences that you've had. How are you preparing for that sort of, do you prepare? Because obviously I'm not in this position. How do you prepare to have a child? When you knew that you were having a child, have you done any sort of preparation? Is there any preparing thing that you can do?
I mean, of course, it's like financially and like getting things sorted, like we're building a house, we're buying things that when the baby is here will help us out. But like, you're never ready until it's there, until the baby's there. You could do as many YouTube video searches as you want, but it's like whatever. No one can tell you exactly how you're going to experience the first week, the first day, the first month, the first year of your child. You can ask for opinions, and I have with my friends or with my family, people online that are fathers, and I asked them, like it's just like curiosity, like what was it like for you? Was it easier to have a boy or a girl? Was it easier to do this or that? And like they can tell you exactly what they want, but if you find out very fast that they're very different, someone's experience is very different to someone else. So I kind of just want to go in a bit blind a bit. Like I know that I'm going to be a good dad. That's the one thing. I know that I could be anything in life, but I know I'm going to be a fucking good dad. I know I will be. And that's I got that confidence in myself that I know everything that I've gone through with my mum, that I knew, and I know where I'm at right now, that would be the most important thing. And like, I just got that kind of confidence that's like, you can ask all people that you want, but you just got to know inside yourself that that you got shit planned, that that you've got things sorted when time comes. And that's just the most important thing, is that self-confidence. I've been really into fitness, since the start of the year, lost about 10 plus kg. And now I'm trying to build up, muscle on that as well. And I'm proud of myself for doing that. And that self-confidence that that you are where you want to be. And I'm still not done. I still want to get bigger and more muscles, whatever else, but you need that confidence. And same thing for when it comes to having a child.
Yeah, no, again, I've got no doubt. Obviously I've been able to chat with you for over an hour, and I do appreciate I very much do appreciate your time for that as well. But from this and from sort of, it's weird, we're just from seeing pictures of you and Sonia together. I understand, obviously, pictures are just the highlights of everyone's life, but like seeing you both together, it just, when you look at someone, you think, yeah, they're going to make good parents. Like for whatever reason, they've just got something about them. And I remember I've seen a few pictures because of Twitter and on Instagram as well of you two together. And every single time, it's just like, it's quite wholesome, and you do get that feeling. And I'm sure a lot of your followers feel the same as well, that you'll make a great dad and you'll both make great parents as well. I'm looking forward to what happens, and I'm hoping she has the name Marnie in the middle of hers. I don't know if you've been able to convince Sonia of that yet.
For girls, sadly the middle name was locked in. Even off the bat. My mum's middle name was Rose. So when I raised 6.5K for a charity live stream the second time when I was in Burnley, actually, Syndicate actually up to 1.3K donation, pretty much, like right to the end.
Yeah.
And I said that's like, if we hit, I think it was like 7.5K, I have a tattoo. And of course, he dropped that, and I was like, close enough, 6.6K, that's close enough. So I got a rose tattoo there.
Oh wow!
Which is underneath my watch. It's kind of annoying because I always have my watch on my left wrist. Yeah. I think most people do. If they're right-handed, it's usually left hand. I think they have watches. That's what I think. So anyway, so if it's a girl, Rose will be the middle name, guaranteed. And for our actual name, we felt like it's probably important we know what it will be. However, there's a kind of feeling that what if maybe once a child is there, you think, holy shit, it doesn't look like that. It doesn't look like that name. Like, for example, my name should have been Callum. My dad and my mum, my name was Callum the entire time when I was inside my mum's womb. And then the moment I came out, they were like, that is not a Callum, that is Liam.
Yeah, you're not a Callum. You're definitely a Liam.
I think I can match a Callum, but I don't know. Like that's why I don't want to say what the name is, because I don't want to. Because like I remember like a funny story that my brother told me. It was like he rang up like my dad and was like, "Oh, so how's Callum?" He's like, "Who's Callum?" It's like, "Callum, like our brother." It's like, Callum, what, Liam? It's like, who the fuck's Liam? Like, your brother. It's like, who the fuck? Liam, what? Like, that's like a
When
massive
did he become Liam? Well, I thought it was Callum this whole time. What's going on?
Yeah, so I don't know, especially like online. I don't want to say online because you never know, the name may change. But we're very confident it will be that, and it'll be very matching of my roles as well. So I'm looking forward to that, to when that day comes. Really, that we can announce it.
Yeah, no, I think it's gonna be brilliant. I've got two. I've got two questions just to ask you. The first one is obviously you've moved to Poland. You're building your new house. You're building a house from scratch, which is mental. What's that process like, and what's it like living in Poland compared to England? I know you talked about earlier being cheaper, and you know you get your football pitches and that. Well, in general, what's it like living in England, in Poland, and building your own house from scratch?
I mean, the house is mad. You know, real life Minecraft. It's nuts. I gotta say a large credit to Sonia. Sonia's the beating heart of it all. Like her mom, you know, her mom works and that's like refurbishing, like, you know, maintenance, and like she's used to like, you know, doing this kind of stuff, and that's a livelihood. So like we wouldn't know where to begin without, you know, her, and especially without her mom. So like I'm just kind of like the kind of face of it all. I'm like, you know, because people also like say about financially, they're like, oh, it's just off my money. It's like, you don't know how much money she brings in on the side, because she works for her mum, and it's like there's times she's making much more than me. You know, it's like 1 month is this, 1 month is that, 1 month is this. Like it's not consistent. It just goes up and down a lot. So it's a team effort, and of course she's Polish. I don't speak good Polish. It's a very hard language to learn, so she does a lot of the emails and sorting all that out. So it's really largely her. And right now, a foundation's being built. It's been a thing that has been, you know, in the making for about since the start of the year. I got my Facebook deal, so like that was a large, you know, reason of how we've been able to do it. The Facebook deal was a massive part of it, and I'm still in it now. And by the time that deal is over, the house should be already built, and it's all worth it in the end for that. In terms of comparing England to Poland, like weather is fantastic here. It's consistent. You know, the seasons are the seasons. When it's winter, it's cold and it's snowy and it's actual snow, not that weird slushy shit you get in England, which is pathetic. You know, because you get snow, but then it rains about an hour later, so it's just
and it's just crap. It's just pointless, isn't it? If you're gonna snow, then at least snow properly and let us have fun.
Yeah, it's like a small little thin layer. So it's like this when it's icy, it's snowy, it's proper winters. When weather's nice, but like the lifestyle, I just feel like it's a lot more laid back. I think that's what to say. It's much more laid back here. That like work isn't seen as work in a sense. Like you kind of just start your shift when you feel like it, and like I mean that's if you own the business, of course. But like even still, like there's not many like long hours here, and I mean Poland is definitely a very high development country right now. Like money is like the economy is growing like mad right now, and it's really weird because you don't really see many new houses being built in England. Really, like it's all the same brown terrace houses. Have you not noticed that everything in England's fucking brown? It's just this is a brown brick, and this is a lighter brown brick with a darker brown fence. It's all brown and grey.
But then it's grey on the inside. It's grey and white on the inside all the time, but it's brown on the outside.
Yeah, it's all like a different shade of brown. It's like Christ. But you don't see many new build houses. And if you do see new build houses, it's like this shitty polystyrene stick thing, which like they charge you $1 million to live in, but even though it breaks in half about after a year. Because I lived in a new build in St. Helens after the YouTuber house about 6 months, and it was already like issues with it. And I was like, this is a new build house in a new build area. They're charging me more money because it's probably a nice looking house. On the inside, knock on the wall, it's hollow as fuck. It's paper, mate. It's awful. Like it won't last. And like you go down the street in Poland and you see just these new build houses, like houses that would be worth millions of pounds in England, especially around London. The house that we're building, I can't go to specific figures here, but I'm telling you, man, the land alone is millions. The land that we pay to get our land for our house is like, I don't even know, a 50th of the price of what you would get for that land. I think it's like 30 or 40 acres we have. I think it's like 30 odd acres.
I might need to head to Poland.
It's 30, and I'm not a millionaire. Like everyone thinks, I'm not earning that much money. So
Not
I'm
that
like,
much,
I would have
just 900,000 a year.
850 to be more precise. But yeah, but even like, yeah, like no one will know about that. No one cares about Poland. No one thinks Poland. No, if you're in England, you don't think, yeah, let's go to Poland. If you go anywhere, you go to France, you go to Germany, you go to Italy, you go to Spain. Everyone's been to fucking Tenerife. Ask any Englishman about have been to Tenerife. They've all been to Tenerife. Okay, it's such a popular place, and yeah, it's just different, and I like that. I like having that kind of experience, and maybe in 5 years' time, we may say, okay, let's go live in Italy. Why not? I don't know, but that options are always still there. So yeah, if anyone wants to have a visit to Poland, Wrocław or Katowice or Warszawa, like it's all like it'll blow your mind. How cheap it is one thing, but the kind of lifestyle, everyone thinks anything east of Germany, they think Chernobyl, Russia, anything, Slovakia and Croatia and
like poor and the old communist nations and whatever.
They all think it's Eastern Europe, Serbia, and all that kind of place. They just think, yeah, that's Chernobyl. Pretty much.
It's the whole thing. Anything East Germany is Chernobyl, right there.
Pretty much. Like I asked when I first said to my viewers when I said I was going to Poland, they were like, "Is there internet there?" It's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Is there internet there? It's like, yeah, but is it like fast though? It's like it's faster than my fucking speed I have in England, and I live in like around Manchester. In St. Helens, it's faster than my speed in England by a lot. And guess what? It's 20 times cheaper.
Yeah,
I pay £5. I pay £5 for my internet and my phone bill a month. My fucking car has gone from $250 a month to like $250 for the entire year. That's car insurance. That's car insurance. That's fucking nuts. Actually, I think car insurance it was 125 for car insurance. My actual finance was like 250 on my old car in England.
Mate, me getting on insurance, I passed ages ago, and for me to get on insurance was £1,900. £1,900. Are you taking the mick?
Like literally,
it's mad. It's mad.
Yeah.
Liam, we've been going for about an hour and 24, nearly an hour and a half. Again, I really do appreciate your time coming on. Your incredible story. The highs, the lows, there's so many of them. And I'm so happy to see that you are on a trend of highs. And I can't wait to see the many highs that come afterwards, especially with your child, especially with you getting married as well. It's completely mental. My final question to you, Liam, is to the 20-year-olds, the 19-year-olds, the 21-year-olds out there who don't know what they're doing with their life, who may be struggling mentally as well. What sort of advice would you give to them?
I mean, everyone's situation is different, right? So, like, one thing, my camera's just died. I need to just quickly change that. Sorry, that's really bad timing.
No, it's fine.
Died just now. There you go. I got a spare battery just now. Give me a second. There you go.
One.
Nice. You want to say the question again, and then
So what was I saying? What was my question? Oh yeah. So what sort of advice would you give to the 19, 20, 21-year-olds out there who don't know what they're doing with their life, who might be struggling mentally, and maybe want some advice from you?
Of course, everyone's situation is different to each other. So, of course, one thing may not just cover everyone, of course. The best advice I can possibly give to anyone that feels like they're lost and feels like they're not where they want to be, because the issue is with humans is that we're stupid, and we always go on TikTok and we go on Instagram and we go on Twitter, we go on YouTube, and we keep comparing ourselves to people. And a lot of people, they compare themselves to the wrong people. They may have a friend of theirs which is doing better than them in one part of their life, and they think that's the end of the world, and they go on TikTok and they say, oh, this guy's got 500,000 followers in a month. Wow, I wish I was like him. Everyone compares with each other. You need to stop doing that shit and just live your life and what you want to do. Now, there's so many things that you could do in your life you have a passion for. If it's football or if it's that you just really like, anything stupid like coding. You want to do coding, go do coding. If you want to go and do YouTube, go do YouTube. If you're creative, you want to go do graphic design and make things for people, go do that. If you're into music, just crack open a music producer app and just make a song and just see how it does. And if you show your friends or your family and they're like, yeah, that's really good, Tim. And they'll lie to your face, but to you, you'll know that you like it. And that's the main thing. Fuck what people really think, really. It's just mainly you and your own happiness. And that's what really matters, because at the end of the day, you got to live yourself. So the main thing I just want to get out there is just make sure that when you look back on the last week or the last month or the last year, that you know that you did what the fuck you wanted to do, and that you feel like you're progressing in some sort of sense. And that can be little small things. That could be like you doing the dishes each day, sort out your bed, going out for a walk for 10 minutes, walking your dog consistently at this time of this day. You feel, you tick off little things. Can you please stop squeaking, dog? I appreciate that very much. He wants attention, clearly.
He's been good for an hour and a half. I knew there was summer. I was thinking, is he squeaking his toy? Bless him.
I know I was going to snip behind him. But like, yeah, like literally, like take off little things. Don't make a big, this is an issue that people do. They make a massive milestone. They're like, let's say they do want to do YouTube, right? I want to get 1,000 subs within the first month. I want to get 1,000 subs. Fuck that. Get 100 subs. Get 50 subs. Much more achievable, and you won't feel as pissed off if you don't hit it instantly. Like, have little tiny ticks, and that's for YouTube. If you want to do anything else, if it's you want to go be an esport player, want to go play FIFA professionally, just go do tournaments. Go on Twitter. There's a big community there. Go on Discord. Talk to people about it, and just work your way up, and just have fun while doing it. And yeah, like I do also I really do push the fact that fitness is power. Fitness, health is power. Health is the most important thing that you possibly do for yourself. Shower each day, brush your teeth, make sure that you have some water each day. Try and do some form of exercise each day. If it's going for a run, if it's playing some football, going for a bike ride, going to the gym, something small, walking your dog, doing some stretches, any fucking thing. If you don't feel good after you go gym, then you're doing something wrong with your life. I'm sorry. Like, you can't go gym and feel like you're not doing something, that you're not accomplishing. It's annoying me. I'm mixing my words up. You need to feel accomplished when you go gym, because that's just how it works. You get these good feelings. So if you're missing those good feelings, chase things that have good feelings. And that's just that's a lot of things that are said, but that's how I see life from how I've gone through it, of what I know, what really matters. So like this kind of thing of maybe going out with your friends, doing drugs or drinking, whatever else. And some people, they may not have that. They may not even have friends. They may just be inside on Discord playing games all day. Because I know people that are like that. Really, just if you're that person that's inside a lot, health, fitness is the best thing I could possibly give to you. A decent diet. If you're drinking Coke each day, this is the first Coke I've had in about, I want to say, since the start of the Euros. Honestly, I just kind of just felt it, just kind of craved it. I thought, you know what, I can have one. I'll be going football tomorrow. It'll be out my system. I'm fine, because I know I'm going to burn this off tomorrow and I feel great. So yeah, that's the best advice I could possibly offer to anyone, I feel.
And that is it for this week's episode of the podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope the people that came over from Liam's channel enjoyed it as well. To hear more about his own story, maybe some things that he hasn't really talked about, I'm glad he was comfortable enough to talk about on this podcast. If you did enjoy it, then make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss new episodes like this. Next week, I sit down with someone who predicted the rise of Bitcoin over 8 years ago, when Bitcoin, no one really knew what it was. And he predicted it, and he told everyone on YouTube 8 years ago to buy into it. I wish I saw that video, and I wish I bought into it myself. Because I probably wouldn't be doing podcasting. I'd probably be living somewhere I don't even know. But yeah, it's a great podcast. It's a short one, but it's a good one that's coming up next week on Sunday. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. Have a great week. Until next time.